What's going on, everybody? TRAE4PAY back in the building, coming at you guys with some more footage from the Darrell Brooks trial. Said at the end of the last one, I'm trying to space these out. It's like when you watch it, his vibe just radiates through the screen. This dude has terrible energy about him. But I've been thinking I'm gonna do some reactions to some of the long form stuff. Like they have some footage that are like 2 hours, an hour long. I'm gonna do some full length reactions to those. I work from home, so that gives me an opportunity to be able to record that stuff, and I'm just gonna make sure to get everything ready for that. And before I begin, I do have to say, if you enjoyed the video, please like, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Do what y'all have been doing, man. Show love. Y'all are really showing love on that last video I did, so I gotta come back with another one. You know, the people have spoken. We ain't gonna do too much talking. I got no updates to give, so let's go ahead and get into it.
Questions, Your Honor?
As to this particular piece of evidence only, Mr. Brooks, you may ask questions of Detective Casey.
Objection, I don't consent to being called that name. And yeah,
Noted. Do you have any questions for the witness?
This
Another bogus objection right off the
video.
jump.
When was this made a exhibit? Because I don't have it.
Objection, that's not a question for the witness, Your Honor.
That was a question.
Sustained as in the form of a question.
When
We are
was
barely
this video?
I'm sorry, I don't mean to pause so quick. We barely into the video, and he's already throwing out his favorite delay tactics, which are, I never received this. I don't know when this got into evidence. Like, okay, you know, that's your own fault, attorney. You're supposed to be your own attorney, right?
It's a question.
I object to the question directed at the witness, Your Honor. It's beyond the scope of his knowledge.
Right, how's the witness going to know that?
But that's not the question asked. So you can rephrase your question if you want to.
When did you see this exhibit? When did you see it?
With the understanding that you're asking when did he see the video, I will
When
allow
did you
the
see
question
this
to be
exhibit?
asked. With that understanding, you may answer Detective Casey.
This man talking to the judge like she inconveniencing him.
Yes.
Objection, Your Honor. Why is something always funny at that table? It would be the same thing. I take that as disrespect because they were allowed to say something, and I said under my breath that was disrespect.
I
they
would
just
direct
did the
both
same
parties
thing.
to avoid commentary.
Okay, well, can
and
you do that,
gestures
please,
and
and
faces.
admonish them?
Yes,
Because
I
I'm
will.
always the one
Absolutely.
getting admonished.
Everyone.
I take that
you
as
want them to say
disrespect
why
too.
they're
Sir,
laughing, bro.
can I do my job?
Because you a whole clown.
State's directed to avoid laughing commentary. I didn't see it, so I can't further comment. I was looking at
All these
the
cameras
witness.
in here, don't nobody
However,
ever see nothing.
I'm advising both parties to show
Come on, man,
decorum
this is not fair.
and restraint,
The judge and a camera. I don't even know what that.
to
I
be
would-
respectful of
All
this
these
jury's
cameras in here.
time and attention, and to let them do their job by focusing on the testimony and exhibits and evidence that's presented. Go ahead, Detective.
Hey, there go the bailiff again. He's already. Yo, this bailiff, this guy's amazing. Like he's wearing, like, you can tell he's rock solid, but bro is wearing a little bit of that frustration on his face. He wants to come up right behind dude and wrap him up in that. I can see
Detective
it.
Casey, you can answer the question about when you have seen
The way
this
he's
video
looking is how
prior
we
to
all
today.
feel listening to this. Like if we were in the
I saw
room.
the video within a few days of Mr. Brooks being arrested. I've reviewed it since then a few times. I reviewed it yesterday and again this morning, and now in court again.
You said you reviewed it yesterday and this morning. If you had seen this video numerous times before yesterday and today, why did you feel the need to view it yesterday and today?
Objection, argumentative.
Grounds.
Sustained as to the form of the question.
Why did you need to review it this morning?
Objection, argumentative.
Overruled, the witness may answer.
Because I wanted to be 100% sure of the content, and if there's any questions that were asked of it, I wanted to make sure that I would be able to answer them appropriately.
And why was this, to your knowledge, why was this video never brought up in your earlier testimony?
Objection, that's a
Grounds.
misstatement, Your Honor.
Sustained as to
it was
the
not
form
brought
of the
up in his
question
earlier
assumes
testimony.
facts not in evidence.
If you had seen it numerous times before today, why did you need to see it again to make sure if any questions were asked or however you refer to it, what would be the
Seeing him trying to get that
Need
question
to-
out, he's saying it the same way. Like
view again
he can't
This
answer the
morning.
question you're asking, dude.
something that you had viewed numerous times before?
I'll see what
Objection.
my
Hold on.
Objection, compound, asked and answered, misstatement of the facts, argumentative.
Sustained.
Did you view the video this morning because you knew that the video would be made an exhibit this morning?
Objection, assumes facts, not in evidence.
Sustained. That's to the form of the question.
That's not something he would know.
This is mind-boggling. This is mind-boggling.
This is mind-boggling.
Can you clarify again why you viewed the video this morning?
Objection, asked and answered.
Sustained.
So you're gonna sustain everything?
It was already answered, sir. Next question, please.
And I'm asking for clarification.
Next question, please.
I don't got no more questions, man.
All right, thank you.
This is mind-boggling.
Detective, you may step down. I'll excuse the jury.
What you people are trying to do is
Oh
not
my
fair.
God.
Hide things from the jury repeatedly. You don't tell them all the information
Mr.
they
Brooks,
need
I'm
to
gonna
know.
take up all of your objections outside the presence of the jury.
How is
I
she?
ask that
He
you
answered
honor
the question
my
like a couple
decision to
minutes
do that,
ago.
and you show courtesy and decorum.
Because you asked.
Mr. Brooks, please.
Because you asked. That's the only reason, because you asked. I see what you people are trying to do. It's not right. It's not fair and it's not right.
Oh my God. It's
You can have a
not
seat.
fair and
We'll-
it's not
Once
right,
the
y'all.
jury's outside of the courtroom, I'll take up the objections previously.
It's not fair
of
and it's
this.
not right.
All right.
I would
first
say
of all,
killing 6 people and running through a
Attorney
crowd
Hopper,
with
if
an
you can make a
SUV
record
is
as
not
to,
fair and not right. But
this exhibit and
I mean,
whether it's been turned over previously.
It was
I'm pretty
previously
sure that's not
included
right,
in the
though.
initial discovery that was sent initially to the public defender's office, and now we have a record that those 3 boxes were turned over to Mr. Brooks.
Objection, I don't consent to being called that name, and it was not in the video footage that I have obtained. That video was not part of it. Do you think I would sit here and be this irritated
Mr.
by
Brooks, I need to
something
make
that
a
I saw?
record, so
Yeah,
just
I
please
do.
sit down. There's no need for you to stand at the moment.
I feel like standing right now.
Please sit down.
I feel like standing.
oh boy.
All right, based upon the
I
officer's
feel
proof
so
provided-
bad for the judge, bro. Like, look, I say I gotta space out my reactions to this. She had to experience it and deal with him firsthand. She has to manage the man-child himself. And I'm not gonna sit
by
down.
the state.
Okay.
And it was provided to prior counsel.
That's so sad. You won't sit down. Wow.
That satisfies me as to that issue.
That's
I
inaccurate.
indicated I
That's
would-
inaccurate, Your Honor. Can we have the prior counsel testify to that then? Because
Not at this time, sir.
I have not obtained that.
Um,
Right now, that was my first time seeing that as an exhibit. That's
Mr.
why I
Brooks, I
raised the issue.
presume, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but you're familiar with that video? Yes or no?
What does that have to do with what we're talking
Because
about?
I'm gonna make a finding based upon what I viewed in that video, that there is absolutely no surprise to you. It appears to me, even without the video, that that's a music video, that you are in it, that the vehicle that has been the subject of this entire case, that red Ford Escape with the plate that's been testified to, is in that video. That video is relevant for a number of different reasons, the first of which, it goes to
They
identification
played his
of
music video in court.
you,
I didn't even know he was in a
identification
music
of the
video.
vehicle. You opened up the door through your cross-exam of Detective Casey about his ability to identify you in that video.
I gotta react to that if they
And
played
and when
his
I
music
say
video.
identification of you, specifically as it relates to Detective Casey's opinion that that's you in the video, of course, it's ultimately up to the jury to determine that, and what relevance, if any, the evidence have, but you opened up the door for the state to show that video, because you directly attacked the credibility of Detective Casey through his knowledge of it and the identification by him of you in it. because the still image was of your back.
Okay.
So
and-
that opened up the door, and it's proper. There's absolutely no surprise to you that that video exists, and that is my finding as it
What do
relates
you
to
mean by
that.
it's no surprise to me that it exists? That was not the issue. The issue was how was it made an exhibit at the last moment? How does it be made an exhibit out of the blue?
She just
That was
explained
the
it.
issue.
Huh?
The issue.
State can
it
make
had-
an offer.
So apparently, and this is why I wish I would have watched a lot of this stuff in the order that I'm meant to look at it. But I guess what she's saying is they presented a piece of evidence to the detective that showed like a part of his music video, and he was trying to make it seem as if, oh, that's not me, like that can't be me or something like that, I guess. And then that opened the door for them to show the detective the entire music video. And once again, if they hopefully they showed it in court, because I do want to see that video of him looking at his own music video. I know it's gonna be
No
garbage.
proof on
I know
that,
it's
because
trash,
obviously
but I
they
wanna see
marked it as an exhibit.
It might
But
be
with
in
all
this
So
respect,
go
Your Honor,
ahead,
you're
Attorney Hopper.
mischaracterizing what I said, and that the record needs to be clear. The issue that I raised was how does this, at the last minute, out of the blue, become an exhibit?
Attorney
That
Hopper,
was the
go
issue.
ahead and make your offer of proof on that.
Thank you, Judge. And another thing worth noting is the testimony of Detective Casey that this
And
video
once
was
again, if
obtained
there are
from
any
the
people
defendant's
that,
own
like,
Facebook account.
or attorneys or
as well.
lawyers or just
The court
people
is
that
well
understand
aware
the law
He
better
said
than
there's
social
me.
media. He
nothing
didn't say,
that-
he didn't say
Hold
what it
on,
was.
sir, stop interrupting. We have to make a record of it. You've
Then make the record
interrupted
clear.
multiple times. I've been abundantly patient
record
with
clear.
you. Again, another interruption. So you need to be quiet and let the state make a record. Stop gesturing at
asking me to be
me.
quiet?
Stop rolling your eyes at
Are
me.
you?
Stop
I'm
mumbling.
looking right at you. I'm not rolling my eyes.
No, you
I'm
have
looking.
throughout. I've seen it
I'm
and
looking.
I've made note
I'm
of
looking
it.
at you. Okay, so are you asking me to be quiet or are you telling me to be quiet?
Go ahead, Attorney Hopper.
Thank you, Your Honor.
gonna take that
And
as
just
asking.
to indicate, Your Honor, this court has been
I'll take that as
abundantly patient with Mr. Brooks. He challenges the court's
Very
authority repeatedly. This court absolutely has the ability to tell him, sit down and be quiet. And you haven't done that. And I know why you haven't done that, Your Honor, and we appreciate that. He is not in control of this courtroom.
She
You
has
are.
some next
And
level
he needs to
patience.
respect that. This video was relevant based on his questioning of Detective Casey, as you just indicated, challenging his ability to identify the person who had their back turned to the camera in the still shot of State's Exhibit 175. Trials are fluid. When he opened the door to that, we came up with the video which Detective Casey testified repeatedly on direct examination and cross-examination as to how he knew that was Mr. Brooks, because he had seen the rest of the video. He would not accept that. He pushed it and pushed it and pushed it until we played the video. The lyrics of that video probably would have been prejudicial. Originally, I wasn't going to ask for volume. Then I did, because he pushed it again, and his voice and his mannerism of speech, I thought would have assisted the jury in identifying Mr. Brooks as the person in the video with the red SUV. However, you smartly asked me to play it without the audio, and I did that, and then I never went back to that. This is all to the benefit of this defendant, who continues to suggest and impugn the integrity of this court and this prosecution without basis. He doesn't like it because the
Get
evidence is stacking up and stacking up.
Tell him.
And
Dude,
whenever
tell
it
him exactly
does,
what's going on.
his response
He
is
don't
to
wanna hear
accuse
this.
you, the court, or the prosecutors of being unethical and hiding things. There is nothing in law that prevents me from pulling something out of my briefcase right now and making it an exhibit if it's relevant. You decide what's relevant, what's admissible, not Mr. Brooks. There is no law, he can cite to no law, no authority whatsoever that says I can't make an exhibit essentially on the fly if it's called for, and that's exactly what just happened here. So I apologize.
Once again, like I said, this is why he shouldn't have represented himself. Like, he seems to have some kind of idea as to how things are supposed to go, but it's like, dude, if you understood the full, I don't even know how to say what I'm trying to say. He just don't get what he's trying to do. He don't get it, but he thinks he knows like everything about the process, and if he doesn't understand it, he just calls it unfair.
Apologize for my tone with the court. I don't mean to direct this at the court. It is very frustrating. The court has demonstrated much more patience than I have with Mr. Brooks because, again, I do not appreciate his impugning the integrity of these proceedings, of Your Honor's efforts to run a fair trial, and of our efforts to run a fair trial. We have ethical obligations as well to be fair in this courtroom. We have respected that entirely. The reason I was laughing 30 seconds ago was because the exhibit was mislabeled. There was an extra Y and it said Exhibity, EXHIBITY. And I turned around to the paralegal and pointed that out, and we laughed over it, the word exhibity. That was it. There has been no disrespect directed at Mr. Brooks directly in any fashion. So he can object all he wants, and he has made that clear. He will continue to object and obstruct the court and obstruct these proceedings every last chance he gets. But legally, everything has been above board and proper, and this exhibit is no exception. I apologize for my tone, Judge.
Thank you, I appreciate that additional record being made.
I object to that.
My previous ruling doesn't change
Here we
in
go,
any
bro.
way that the exhibit.
But I was just gonna say a second ago, I just want to finish. I was gonna say, if there are any people that are either lawyers, attorneys, or you understand the law better than I do, which I'm sure most of you do, just clarify in the comment section. Let me know, because I do go through and read those. So, yeah,
That is
that would
relevant.
be very much appreciated.
I indicated I would take it up because, and I'm taking what the state's saying as withdrawing the request to play the lyrics.
That is correct.
All right. I have not heard them, but I'll certainly take the state at its word as an officer of the court that it would be prejudicial based upon the lyrics that are in that video, but my decision to admit the video without audio stands. I do want to take up two other
I want to hear it with audio,
issues.
bro.
There was an objection
I wanted to
to
hear the
questions
video.
regarding cross-examination. So the objections were by the state. One had to do with there was questioning about possible testimony with his niece and nephew, and then the jail cell search issues. So Mr. Brooks, you asked the questions. The state had objected. Since you're the proponent of what would presumably come in through the testimony of Detective Casey, what is your offer of proof as to why I should allow Detective Casey to come back on the stand and testify about his interaction, I believe it was with your mom, and possible testimony of your niece and nephew?
It don't matter with Detective Casey. He's off the stand. He's not going back on the stand.
No, but I told you I would recall him. I wanted to take it up outside the presence of the jury.
How do I supposed to know?
So are you withdrawing that, sir?
How am I supposed to know? I think I deserve a chance to rebut what was just said. I think I
too much in
deserve
his
that
feelings.
much if it's a fair trial.
What information do you want to provide to me
Oh.
about that last exhibit?
About what last exhibit? I'm talking about the audacity of the prosecution to just put that on the record when the state is untrue.
I don't know what you're talking about. What's untrue?
We just heard her talk for 5-10 minutes straight. Now don't nobody know what I'm talking about.
I don't
There
know
was a reference made
specifically
to
what you're talking
there's a
about,
reference
sir.
made to what I'm supposed to know about the evidence stacking up and this and that, as if that
He basically
has
saying he
bearing
want to
on
get
what
the
I'm
last
still thinking,
word.
what I'm
That's
still
what he
going to
trying to
present.
say.
It doesn't.
Well, that's not what we're talking
Man
about
child
at the moment.
101.
I made a ruling on an
She's
exhibit.
been laughing and making comments under her breath the whole time during the whole trial, and I never said nothing. I don't know what's being said, but I can tell that it's directed towards me. I'm not an idiot.
I
And for her to sit there-
haven't made any of those observations,
I didn't
sir.
say
What
you.
I've observed.
I didn't say you, Your Honor.
No.
But
What I've
for
observed
her,
is
for
as.
her, listen, please.
Go ahead.
For her to sit there and try to play it off as if she's not referencing to me, she must think I'm an idiot.
Nobody
That is
said
very
sir.
disrespectful to me. I haven't said anything about that until today. She's done it numerous times.
What are you talking about? I don't
Her
know what you're
laughing under her breath. Her trying to cover up the microphone so they can laugh and hee and key. That they've been doing that the whole time. I didn't
need
say
specific
anything. I didn't say
instances
Look at how you
anything
conduct
about
I
it.
yourself.
have not
Why wouldn't they
noticed
laugh?
that. What I notice are 3 attorneys
Why wouldn't they
who
laugh? Like, honestly.
cover up the microphone so that they're not heard when they're conferring with each other about evidentiary issues, about
I mean, she gotta giggle. This the easiest, man. This whole thing a
about
layup for her. Come on now.
So why is it
You
always
represent
laughing
yourself,
and
you're gonna
giggling?
get found
I
guilty.
don't
Like,
notice that other than the one thing you pointed out
Well, we
today,
have-
which
we
that
have
this
is-
whole
cameras.
thing is a layup.
That's what the
Mr.
cameras are
Brooks,
for.
let's refocus our attention on what we're here for, and that's
Okay,
this
then
trial.
I take that
And
as-
do you have
I
anything you
take
want to
that
put on
as-
the record?
I'm putting it on the record
As
if I
it
get a
re- no,
chance.
you need to let me finish. As it relates to the video and my decision to admit
She
it.
just admitted that she just now came with the exhibit. It was not, she just said, she just made it an exhibit. It
That
was
doesn't
not
mean
an
it wasn't
exhibit
turned
before she
over
made
to
it
you.
one.
So do you have some legal basis, sir, for your position? Because I'm not
What do
aware
I
of any.
need legal basis for when she just admitted on the record that she just made this exhibit up
No,
right
she
now?
didn't. That is a complete mischaracterization. Sure, she did not.
That's what, so she wasn't
Create
implying
the
that by saying that
exhibit.
she could
She did
pull
not make it
anything
up.
out of her suitcase.
So that's a figure of
during-
speech.
Okay, so what is
Alright.
it implying to? What would that be implying to?
As
How would
attorney,
anyone-
all
how
right,
would
I'm
anyone in
moving
my
on
position-
because you're not
How
providing me
would-
with any
how would
legal
any-
basis
I didn't even
for
finish.
me to.
You told me that I can make the record. I'm attempting
Sir,
to make the
well,
record.
Sir, as it relates to the video and my decision to admit it, do you
I
have
just said
anything?
that you didn't even let me finish.
You're not letting me finish.
You didn't let me finish either, Your Honor.
Because you're not providing me, you're
But how
on
do
a
you-
rant,
how do you know I
you're
wasn't getting to
providing
that if I
commentary,
didn't finish?
you're not providing me with anything from a legal basis for which I would consider changing my mind. So the state's withdrawn their request to play the audio.
Then why play the video at all then?
I've already made a ruling on that. You're questioning the ruling. You're not asking me to reconsider it based on any legal basis.
There should be a legal reconsideration of it.
Then you need to provide me with the legal basis for.
Oh, it's so crazy dealing with this dude, bro. Like, this needs to be a form of FBI torture. They should just bring him in the room and say, all right, have a productive conversation with Darrell Brooks for 5 minutes. And this will be a form of torture for people. You'll be coughing up all sorts of information. And you got to talk to him.
For that, sir.
So I'm supposed to just come off that with off the top of my head?
Yes.
That's ridiculous.
You're
Like,
representing
how has he been
yourself. It's not
functioning as
ridiculous.
society?
It is ridiculous. So I was supposed to
Like this.
already come in here this morning and say, oh, a video is going to be shown off the fly at the drop of a hat. Let me try to find some legal thing to combat. How am I
Mr. Brooks,
supposed to do that?
the bottom line is you opened the door to
It
the
doesn't,
playing
it
of that
doesn't,
video.
we're not talking about
And the
opening
video
no
was
doors.
previously provided to you during
We're
discovery.
not talking
There's
about opening no doors. We're talking about being fair.
There's
Because
absolutely
if I
no
would have did
prejudice
that,
to
Your
you
Honor,
in
with all
terms
due
of
respect,
surprise
with
by
all
the
due respect,
exhibit.
if I had
Right.
done that,
I am going to move on
if
from
I
this
had done
topic.
that, it would have
Mr.
been a
Brooks,
big
I'm
thing.
advising you
Are you
that
asking
you
me?
need, I'm advising
You don't know how to
sir.
do it.
Oh, okay.
I'm
I don't know what that
advising you
means.
to sit
You
down
don't know how
and
to
be
do
quiet.
means.
And if you interrupt me again, you are on notice that you will forfeit your right to be present
So
in
you're
this
holding me in
trial.
contempt.
Mr.
For the
Brooks,
entire trial?
Kick him out.
Did you say the entire trial?
I never said any such
You said
thing.
for the trial. So what do
Please?
you mean? I'm asking, what do you mean?
Mr. Brooks, you continue to
That is
come
not,
at me.
I don't consent to being called
You
that name.
continue to fight
this
with
should be
me.
for the whole
You
trial.
I'm not
are
fighting
being
with you.
disrespectful.
I'm not fighting with you. I'm not.
I'm
But
going to give you
said I
one
would have
last
the chance to make the
opportunity to
record.
sit down and be quiet so I can make a finding
Are you
as it
asking
relates
me
to
to
other
do
things.
that? Are you asking me
I don't
to
need
do
to
that?
ask, I'm telling you.
He cut you off again. Just get him out.
Thank you. There were 2 other issues that came up that I advised the parties I would take up outside the presence of the jury and give, if appropriate, Mr. Brooks the opportunity to ask further questions of Detective Casey. There was questioning by Mr. Brooks about possible testimony and why it had to do with it was in the context of him questioning Detective Casey about speaking with Dawn Woods, his mother, and about a time in August, and there was some reference to his niece and nephew. and I sustained the objection. I wanted to take it up outside the presence of the jury. That's the first issue. The second issue was the questioning of Detective Casey by Mr. Brooks related to the jail search. Do you want the opportunity to question Detective Casey about either one of these two topics, is my first question.
Okay, why was it an issue with me bringing it
Mr. Brooks, I'm only gonna ask you one more time, and if you don't answer it
if I don't
correctly,
understand,
then I
if I
will
don't understand what was the problem in the get-go with the question, how am I supposed to answer it now?
Mr. Brooks, listen to me, please. I'm going to ask this question one more time.
Man,
It calls for
I don't
a
like,
yes or no.
I don't like your tone and the way you're talking
It-
to me. I don't.
Mr.
I don't
Brooks?
appreciate it.
Oh,
Sit down.
he don't like the way they talking to him again, y'all. Oh boy. Once again, he don't like the way they speaking to him.
I don't care if you don't like
I'm
my
not
tone.
gonna-
You've
I'm
been
not gonna
pushing my
talk to
buttons
you
all
like
day
that.
throughout this entire
Okay, you've been
trial, and
pushing
I
my
have
buttons
showed
too.
the utmost of respect
No,
for
you
you,
haven't.
and I don't
Absolutely
appreciate
not.
you impugning the integrity of this court.
If that's
I
what you want to
don't.
call it, that's fine, but it's not
Stop
accurate.
talking.
What you mean, stop talking?
I need to make a ruling. Okay,
Well,
I'm purposely not putting you in the other courtroom
Let's talk to
now.
each other like adults then.
Yo,
Mr.
she
Because
about
I've
to
never
snap,
told you
bro.
to stop talking.
I'm going to ask
She
this
can
question
tell
one
you
more
to
time.
stop
If
talking.
he doesn't answer it, I'll take it
That's
as a
the
no.
difference.
Do you want the opportunity to question Detective Casey regarding either his questioning or meeting up with your mom and your niece and nephew about possible testimony, or the search of your jail cell? Yes or no?
What was the problem with me asking the
All
question
right,
about
he's
the
not
jail
answered
cell?
my question. We'll move on.
I'm trying to
There you go.
understand. If I
All right,
don't
we're gonna take a
understand,
break.
how do
We're
I
in
know?
recess. 15 minutes
How do
from
I
now.
know
Thank you,
what I'm
everyone.
supposed to answer?
I'm glad that he didn't get it because it just leaves no room for him to wiggle out of this. I'm glad he ain't understand it. I hate that he was interrupting her so much. Judge Jennifer Darrell, I think is her name. Incredible patient to be dealing with some stuff like this. Cause look, just reacting to this and for y'all to look at it, it's a painful situation, bro. It's a painful experience. She had to actually babysit this dude basically throughout this whole trial, and for that she deserves the utmost respect. If you enjoyed the video, please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you did something good for somebody today. Hope somebody did something good for you. I'll catch you guys in the next one, man. Peace.